Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the AL Hindenburg. Hindenburg's been one of my favorites for years, and this is the premium version, coming back with this new Azur lane event coming up. Now, it's over 30,000 doubloons in that event, which is a copy of a tech tree tier 10. Wouldn't recommend that. That is not the best value for doubloons, certainly. But it's a nice excuse to take a look at one of my old favorite cruisers in the game. And boy, are these guns amazing. It was really, really fun to take a look at these guns again. Played Clausewitz recently too, and Hindenburg, yeah, it doesn't have the armor of Clausewitz. That's the major upgrade. Really missed that a lot into the overmatch and sap spam. Yet, these guns performed so well. I gotta say, Hindenburg guns are so nice. If you don't have this ship yet, I, again, would not recommend you buy it out of this Azur lane event. Just grind it. You can do that completely for free. It's a solid grind, especially as Wargaming will be adding heals to all those mid-tier cruisers soon. That's 14,500 AEP alpha damage into the GK. We saturated his bow, so let's go upper belt this time. Oh, what is that? 22,000 damage? Yeah, the guns are pretty good. This ship is awesome if you can keep it alive. Now, it's got plenty of strengths to help it stay alive. The 30 mil armor plating, less good compared to what it used to be, but against cruisers as well as any 406 armored battleships, then you can actually bounce a lot of shells. You can get a lot of potential damage that way. A lot of overmatch, though, against it these days, so we will have to rely a lot on our upgraded healing. You get 4 heals base. Most cruisers only get 3. And the legendary mod, which you can, by the way, slot on this AL version. It's really important to note that, as there's a premium Yamato ARP version. It's hard to remember all of these anime collab things, but that one had its own dedicated legendary mod. You can't use the standard Yamato legendary mod on it. Here, though, with this Hindenburg, you can just use the normal Hindenburg mod. I think that's a good thing, though. If people do get this ship, they don't have to spend a bunch extra to actually get the designated AL legendary mod. That's not a thing here. Very happy to see that. We'll swap over to the HE. 51 mil pen is pretty consistent these days. Armors haven't seemed to power creep that yet, so having 51 millimeters of pen is so nice into the vast majority of these new well-armored battleships and battle cruisers that have 40 or 50 millimeters of plating. We just get right through that. So the HE, very consistent into angled targets, and when they go broadside, yeah, we just smash them with armor piercing. A nice excuse to take a look at Hindenburg again. Loved taking a look at Massachusetts, and Hindenburg, well, maybe not the best into the most passive of games these days. Ran into quite a few of those while playing this ship today. It's so nice. We get to have a more normal mid to close. I say normal. What is a carrier doing on our side? It's an Essex, okay? Essex smokes. They can do whatever they want to. But the guns here are the real selling point. Get yourself a Hindenburg if you haven't already. It's well worth grinding out as a free-to-play player. And even if you have the doubloons, I would recommend you get yourself the tech tree version first, just to make sure you enjoy the playstyle before you would spend all this doubloons to actually get the premium version. Which will also set you up nicely to continue on to Clausewitz if you do enjoy this playstyle. Notable differences, though, between Clausewitz and Hindenburg is the armor, as I already mentioned. 50 millimeters of deck armor on Clausewitz makes a big difference. I thought as much while playing it the other week, but now that I got to play Hindenburg again so soon afterwards, it's a big upgrade into this 457 mil equipped battleship meta that we have these days, let alone all the sap spam that is out there too. It's very, very useful, and I did really notice that downside when playing with Hindenburg. Otherwise, Hindenburg has slightly lower fires per minute. Didn't notice that too much, to be honest with you. The HE did feel just as consistent, and the AP has less pen, and usually that is a bad thing, but sometimes it leads to a few less overpens. A lot of the time, though, it means more shatters, though, playing Hindenburg compared to Clausewitz. Clausewitz has a longer reload, but the alpha damage is higher, is generally how it feels as well. Pick up a Confed, nearly 200,000 damage. Not the fastest game, I guess, but we weren't actually shooting for that long. A lot of travel time in this one. And notably, Hindenburg does not have the best maneuverability. Unfortunately, this ship is a little sluggish in the turn, over a 12-second rudder shift time. Another reason that the legendary mod is kind of nice, buffs your healing, as well as giving you a faster rudder shift. Though it's in the 5th slot, if you don't know, and that means it takes up your concealment slot. So running a lighthouse Hindenburg could be a good way to go. if you can keep it alive in these more passive games. I ran some lighthouse, I ran some full concealment, as we saw in that first battle to show you, and it's hard to take advantage of the full lighthouse depending on the map you spawn on with the matchmaker. Getting these very open water flanks where, I'll just let you know, our DD just kind of died early in this one, unfortunately. And now we're against 2 enemy destroyers on this flag. We're going to stay spotted forever. Fortunately for us, it's only a Montana Mecklenburg. So playing bow on like this, while risky, is not as big a deal when they don't overmatch through us. This is what Hindenburg used to be able to do a lot more, and there are scenarios where you can get away with this, where you're going to be bouncing a lot of that armor piercing, unless they're your superstructure, but they're not going to be able to reliably do huge damage into your superstructure at these longer ranges. Or your bow. Your bow does also get overmatched by these battleships here too. Playstyle-wise, I'm always looking to push up with Hindenburg because of those juicy AP salvos, and the torpedoes being 6 kilometers are excellent for anybody trying to YOLO rush you around islands, like that GK. I mean, our guns dealt with them well enough, but that GK would have died to the torps as well. So I like to try to get closer. We all know how the meta is these days though, so Hindenburg often gets relegated to a long-range HE spammer, which admittedly, it does quite well, assuming you're not getting focused down by a lot of those battleships. Proc our lutjens buff here. Now, the potential damage numbers in this one gonna be a bit inflated by some Trump planes, but it's still a very respectable potential damage output from Hindenburg here. We're gonna stay alive for quite a bit longer here. Though notably, the shells here are a little bit slow sometimes, so I'm not actually leading enough for this Trump in this case. Played Zao recently too, and I think that's also a very interesting comparison to Hindenburg if you haven't played it recently. Zao gets a little bit less HE DPM, but it gets destroyer dispersion and much better shell velocity. Really noticed that when I was fighting some of the destroyers in these games with Hindenburg. A little worse dispersion when you're dealing with smaller targets. It's still fine, it's still more than fine, but compared to Zao, that did hurt a little bit, as well as the HE just being a little bit slower too. The AP as well. It's just a little bit slower shell velocity, so you have to lead a little bit more. AP though, compared to Zao, it's not even close. Hindenburg's got 433,000 AP DPM, which is why I'm using it quite a lot, especially when we find the broadsides, try to take advantage of those opportunities. Zao's is only at 283,000, so huge difference there, even though there's less than 5,000 DPM difference between the HE values. Though there is the pen difference too. 51 mil pen is very, very nice and consistent. Hindenburg feels a little bit tankier, but Zao has better concealment. They're both solid cruisers still, but let's be honest, it's a lot harder to play these cruisers these days. A lot of cruisers are just difficult to play because you're just going to get hit for a lot of damage. Now, we only took that huge hit at close range thanks to it being a Montana. He could pinpoint our weaknesses now at these closer ranges. At longer ranges, he couldn't do that as well. But that's generally the hit you're going to feel like taking anytime the enemy battleship overmatches you. That sort of damage is pretty common when you're dealing with 457 mil AP or anything with SAP. Trying to get close enough to help on the DD engagements is very, very important anytime you're playing a cruiser, especially one without radar. Damage output is really all your battle impact is with a Hindenburg and anything fitting this playstyle. So trying to be close enough to help on those DD engagements is really, really important. And somehow we finished them off there. 10 hits out of 12 there. Ridiculous dispersion to actually get that to connect, but we will gladly take it. Stalingrad, one of the few ships that we do full pen with HE that a lot of other cruisers cannot. That 51 mil pen actually does matter here. And in a game like this one, where we're often relegated to spamming HE from range, this is a big advantage that Hindenburg does have. This is a very common playstyle you're going to see when playing Hindenburg, when you see them in the wild. And it's for good reason. It works extremely well. It's quite safe. It's nowhere near as risky as the very close aggressive plays that I was making in the earlier 2 clips. I try to make those work anytime I can, but sometimes the match just doesn't let you. In this one, lost our cruiser pretty early on. Our battleship got stuck in front of the island, so he's probably going to go down. And our DD, understandably, isn't wanting to take a fight with a Barbiano right in front of a Bremen and Stalingrad radar. Makes sense. So this is an ideal scenario for the enemy team pushing into us and us farming, but a little bit less so if we wanted to get close and duke it out with them in a more close range battle. It's not going to happen, and the vast majority of my games playing Hindenburg looked a lot more like this, not those earlier 2 clips. I like to include that though, because I want the game to be a little bit more aggressive and brawly and interesting. Personally, I would just prefer the game that way. So like to highlight that it is still possible here and there. You can push still. But this is, to be honest with you, the vast majority of my gameplay. A lot of pre-kited games, a lot of scenarios where, especially when we're running that lighthouse build, where we take every anti-concealment upgrade we can take in order to buff our reload, as well as maybe get some things like outnumbered dispersion like we have right now. Things like that are pretty strong on flanks like this one because we're shooting all the time anyway. We're spotted anyway. So any sort of full conceal build, a little bit less valuable. Do not quite angle enough to that Stalingrad there. Very interesting. And we eat pretty big damage. In fact, I think that would have been a citadel. We don't eat too many citadels with Hindenburg thanks to its turtleback. That's kind of a protective layer around the citadel there that bounces AP shells up and away from the citadel that a lot of German ships have. And it works pretty good with Hindenburg. At longer range, the way it's angled, it's a little bit less good. Stalingrad also has improved pen angles, so a little bit less good against that too. So we do have to be careful against ships that don't overmatch us, but can sometimes get plunging fire through that citadel. Most of the time, though, you're not eating citadel hits. You're eating a lot of full pen hits from either HE, because you're a bigger target that's not the most maneuverable, or, of course, we all know, the overmatch. A lot of damage incoming from that. So that's what the extra heals feel very, very useful for. And oftentimes, that is the build that I want to take. Though, before we get into the build, I just kind of want to play more Hindenburg today. I've been really enjoying the videos where I talk about a ship a little bit in the beginning for the first 10 minutes or so. Then we play some live games. I have been really, really enjoying that lately. And I think it gives you a better idea of some of the thought processes you should be looking out for while playing specific ships if I talk about it while the match is going on, without the power of knowing exactly what happens the rest of the battle. For here example, why did I turn in even though it looked like a very passive kite flank? Well, the enemy team did not full push through here. They went to go back and deal with our team pushing through spawn. Our team was overwhelming there, though, so turns out that they weren't actually strong enough or enough ships left to deal with that. But oftentimes, that's the right call. And if you're on the kiting flank, the enemy team is very strong on your flank, you don't want to full kite away just in case they do all of a sudden turn around and deal with your team on the other side. Suddenly, you're too far away to actually impact that battle. Pretty good couple of games. I played quite a few Hindenburg. They did not all look this good, but Hindenburg could still be a pretty good cruiser here in 2026, though not as tanky as it once was. And we'll start it with the lighthouse build, because I think this one is something a lot of people want to play, but it's also by far the most difficult. Cruisers are squishy. They explode, right? And we're playing a build that gets spotted instantly. 17.9 kilometers detection, actually. 17.8 kilometers of range. So what do I want to do? We want to use islands to get closer if we can. Open water, it is a lot harder. I also included a 1-point skill called Incoming Fire Alert that you should see it makes it a lot easier. You'll just know anytime someone shoots at you from a very long distance, and that's a great indicator of when you should dodge. We'll notice Napoli middle. Oh, it's the GK. Guys, it's a GK. And a Siegfried. Okay, Siegfried can have good guns. Not for me. It's 6 guns, but others, I have seen it. Now, GK gets melted, bro. I don't know what else to say here. Yeah, see, Siegfried's got good guns. So we're kind of caught bow in, but this is where islands are so wonderful. We will be needing to dodge another Siegfried shot. I didn't think I could get away with a turn. GK on the HE. In fact, Siegfried is turning, and he's not going after us. So I'm okay with actually just tanking this a little bit. We got so much healing. I went with the legendary mod here. Now, where's our fires? This is the question. Okay. This is where we should be getting quite a few fires. Let's see, is he full secondary? He is some secondary. Okay. Stuck bow on, not where you want to be, but it's fine because we have this island. And he's shooting HE. Okay, I'm getting away with a lot here simply because he is shooting HE. I am getting no fires. So sometimes when you run these very silly builds, you simply won't get fires. And this is where sometimes you just got to swap to the AP. I am in a bit of trouble here if the midway goes after us with those torp bombers, but it doesn't look like it. Now, you're not always... Okay. I am going to record a video on Hindenburg, and then let's talk about how to play it. And then we just have a full send W key GK that is going to go flat broadside onto us and spam high explosive. No one is going to believe that this is real gameplay. Trust me, I want to show you guys normal matches. I don't know what was happening this morning either. Some weirdness is going on with World of Warships these days, apparently. But we get to see the incredible armor piercing in action yet again. This ship is awesome, guys. It really is. The premium version lets us swap lutjens on without spending doubloons. But for a lot of you, I think you'll probably just want to have lutjens on your Hindenburg base anyway. So you can pretty easily skip this one, but well worth grinding out your Hindenburg. Certainly this game is starting to look like a blowout. Instead of pushing spawn, of course, we are going to head back to deal with the enemy. There's a Shimakaze in C, actually. And our Hayate has gone towards the B cap here. So instead of stubbornly saying, I'm gonna try to go charge down a Shimakaze on my own, I'm not gonna do that, all right? There's plenty of damage to get over here. Ooh, we can't quite get over that. That's fine. But as always, we don't want to push through spawns. Yeah, I tried it, you know, trying to be a little bit over-aggressive into that Montana and Mecklenburg. We got a lot of potential damage, but that's not how we want to play. Okay, we want to be playing smart with our team and using our damage output to deal with enemy pushes, right? It's so much easier to deal with an enemy that's pushing into you. That's what we're definitely looking for. Notice how we already have top grade gunner active. This is one of the massive strengths of running a lighthouse build. It is a lot harder, of course. There's our lutjens proc. It's a lot harder to play, of course, but it's pretty nice to get that extra damage output. Hey, and we get the insta-fire. He had just damage controlled, actually. So that's really, really valuable. Makes up a little bit for that GK. It's nice to know we can get damage, though, without needing to rely on fires. Our incoming fire alert went off, so we know we're getting shot at from somewhere. Turns out it was the Siegfried. So now we know where he's at. Enemy daring. Okay, be a good teammate. Be a good teammate. Make sure we're shooting at the destroyer. Am I the one spotting that now? Okay, he's smoking up. I thought he was accelerating. Daring, of course, can accelerate very quickly. Nice. And with getting his engine here, he's not going to slow down as quick. And now, to dodge my salvo here, he's actually accelerated out of his smoke. So now we should be able to finish him off here pretty easily. Great. Hindenburg applies a lot of pressure. No hydro at the moment, unfortunately, but we do manage to dodge that. Secondaries. Making sure we get the kill there. Amazing. Now we can start on main. No, we cannot start on main. Looks like the submarine is actually heading out this way, so let's be a little cautious. Now, I'm not going to charge out this way. If they're going to push along this angle, we got a ton of battleships here. We want to set up a crossfire, guys. Crossfires are wonderful. If he's going to stay broadside onto us, yeah, it's just the EP. Pretty easy stuff here. Yeah, big damage. And we finish him off. Great. Always use our ASWs as well. He's turning this way. Good stuff. Now, Des Moines shooting at us. That's fine. We'll accelerate out of that. I should probably use a heal. Yeah, we should definitely use a heal. I won't be able to catch that Des Moines. That's okay. I think the submarine is dead, actually. He didn't ground. He's just dead. Indiana looking at us. Uh-oh. So, 30 millimeters of armor. We want to bait him into shooting our belt. Oh, the 10,000. It's so juicy. We want to bait him into shooting our belt and then turn in here. And if he hits our belt, it should bounce. Yeah, see? 30 millimeters of armor is still useful at times. And, okay. So, now we get to farm a main down with armor piercing because he's so broadside. Also 406s, but it's a lot of them. So we got to be careful. Seems he's turning away from us. So hopefully he doesn't just walk broadside onto the Slava and die. Because there's so much HP here to farm. He's angling enough that I want to swap over to the HE. Someone else gets the fire, that's fine. And we're in a great position, so now we can just hold. So very strange start to the game, but a much better idea, I think you can see, to just go reposition to the other side of the map, deal with the enemy team pushing, rather than trying to full push through spawn. Usually, that is going to be the case. Main is currently using his F key, so that is why fires aren't doing a lot of damage to him. Now that he's going broadside, we will swap back to the armor piercing, get a lot more damage that way, even at these ranges. Trying to aim upper belt is the idea here. Okay, 3,000, that was a little too far forward. Does Des Moines push? I'm not sure. Okay, we're not getting the damage I was hoping for. Maybe this is where clausewitz is kind of nice, where you're able to get a lot more full pens. Okay, main shot at us. That means we must turn in. Been free farming a little too long, haven't been keeping track of my angle, but we turn in. And it's okay. A couple hits here and there, that is no big deal. That is pretty easy to deal with for us. Now, I'm going to... Yeah, I'm going to go forward here because main is undetected. And maybe we get the juicy Indiana broadside. We'll see as well. Close range, that's what we want to go after. So we're using island cover to make up for our disadvantage in concealment. That's the idea. We take all the anti-conceal stuff for improved damage output, and then to deal with the concealment problem, all we got to do is use island cover. Now, not every map is going to give you that, but that's the kind of basic idea. Indiana turning broadside onto us, so we aim for his stern. We get 11,000. Not going to greed my rear turret here. I want to stay angled, and now we turn in as he shoots, and he bounces everything. He just bounces everything. Hindenburg, look at us. Brawling it out, guys. And now he's got such a long reload that we can... Okay, well. Now we're so angled that this is going to hurt. Yep. So main doesn't overmatch us, but because I couldn't bait him into hitting our belt armor, and now he hit our superstructure, our bow, our stern that are overmatchable, then he gets the damage. My goal here is to show enough broadside that they want to hit my belt armor, and then angle in so that when they actually hit that belt armor, it's angled enough that it's going to auto bounce. That's the idea that I'm trying to go after here. Do we get him? We do get him. All right. Very nice. They're still at midway. Wow, I thought the game was over. Oh my goodness, what a Hindenburg game. I gotta be honest with you, I was not expecting this. I'll take it, I'll take it, I'll take it. Hop plane just to get, I don't know, slightly better angle over the island to see. Doesn't really matter for range at this point. Oh yeah, the Citadels, the Confederate. Let's go. Give me that too. Oh yeah, and the cap? All right. 283, 4 kills. That's an excellent game. Lighthouse Hindenburg. It's good, but you don't need to run Lighthouse to get games like this, okay? The extra damage is nice on the HE and that and the DPM, but in a lot of these scenarios, you can just use a normal conceal build, push up easier to these islands, and a lot of the times having 12.6 kilometer detect or whatever it is, or even 14 kilometer detect when you're taking the ledge mod with the rest of the conceal build, you're still often going to proc top grade gunners. You don't need this necessarily to get the most damage. It's fun to try though, admittedly. It's quite satisfying, selfishly here when we get a game like this one off of such a difficult to play build. It feels pretty good, but it's not as consistent, I find. I find you're gonna get locked out in a lot more games where there's not a very obvious island to push up to. Those open water flanks feel quite a bit more awkward, as well as, yeah, we didn't have to deal with the overmatch. That's, I think, the main thing here with this one is just simply didn't have to deal with overmatch. And so we had such an incredible game and we took some hits. We were able to bounce a lot. Normally we're not going to be able to do that in most of our battles. But that's a decent look at Hindenburg. Man, Hindenburg's a good ship. It's still classic. It's got its problems. It's got stuff you got to deal with, watch out for. Overmatch, of course, sap. It's not the most maneuverable ship, but it can still be very, very good. I highly recommend you go grind yourself a Hindenburg. 30,000 plus doubloons for a tech tree tier 10. I don't think that's worth it personally, but you can do what you want with your money, of course. Look at that. 14,000 damage from our fires only. A little unlucky, I would say, on the GK for getting fires, but that just goes to show how much alpha damage is in this ship. It's not just a pure HE spammer and reliant on fires for getting its damage output. No, 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 no. These guns output huge alpha damage, and they're very consistent at that. The HE is great when things are angled, AP as soon as they go broadside. Very, very good ship. Here's the armor layout if you're curious. 27, 30. Yeah, it's not the best anymore. Here's that turtleback I was talking about as well. Wait, here we go. Turtleback. It's good enough at close range, but you see how steep this angle is? Any plunging fire kind of makes that into a flat target rather than at close range it can sometimes bounce shells up. Good ship though, overall. Here is the lighthouse build that I was going with. You know, I'd probably like grease the gears. Turret traverse is nice, but I wanted to throw it in here with incoming fire alert just to give you an idea of what a better entry point would be. It's a lot easier when you know when someone's shooting at you from range. Legendary mod, just the standard one. So no need to get a special version of a legendary mod. I don't know why they did that with the ARP Yamato. Bit of a cash grab, I guess. Certainly this AL event looks like a cash grab as well, to be honest with you. But they didn't have to do that in this one. So I appreciate that. Otherwise, if you don't have the legendary mod and you want to go full lighthouse, just go steering gears here. 40% rudder is very nice too. Otherwise, just go conceal. Just a basic standard conceal build is a lot easier. Let's not sell. I don't know why that legendary mod defaults to sell. You know, if you wanted to go for a more basic build, this would be a great option for you, right? 12.6 detect is way easier to use. Yeah, the rudder shift is less useful in this one, certainly. But I find if you're not already used to dodging shells at high tier, having a better rudder is not going to be that helpful to you because you won't know when to start turning to avoid the shells. Sometimes you got to start turning before they shoot, so you got to predict when they're going to fire. It's difficult. Or sometimes you got to wait a long time after they fire to start turning, and that's a little challenging. So going like this will just make your life a lot easier, and you're still getting great damage output from this ship. 6-kilometer hydro, of course, and with this build we get 5 heals, and I also threw in survivability experts, so you're buffing your heals as well that way, because heals are always percentage based on your hit points. So a little more HP, a little more healing there, even though we're not getting the 20% buff of the legendary mod. Still a ton of healing for Hindenburg like this anyway. Very good ship. Don't spend the 30,000 doubloons, in my opinion. Go for the tech tree ship. But Hindenburg is still well worth using these days. It's a classic, so I still really enjoy it. Perhaps nostalgia talking there a lot of ways, but still, I think there's plenty of good opportunities for you to get a ton of value out of Hindenburg. Have a lot of fun matches. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.